Of these three things, the Packers loss, Baker Mayfield coming in and dominating, or the Dolphins winning and being 3-0, what are you most upset about?
Well, I can't be upset about the Baker Mayfield thing because he covered my spread. So I'll take that. I mean, it has to be the Packers losing because the Dolphins are going to just regress back. I mean, they've had some easy opponents, so I'm not too worried about it at this point. They'll fall. They got the Patriots next weekend, so they're going to get their shit pushed in that game.
So nervous about that game. It's in New England. I have a feeling that the dream run is going to come to an end. That's why I'm kind of cheering for the Patriots to win the night. Because what are the odds they lose 3 games in a row, you know?
They're not going to lose either one of those games anyways.
No. So let's just get loaded. And with that, as DJ hates, we have no intro song. So welcome to the Loaded Box Podcast.
Where we never finish first because we finish last.
Well, thank you once again for tuning in to the Loaded Box Podcast. I am Ben Morgan, and that there is DJ Primo with the throat clearing. Man, we talked about it a little bit. I want to get we're going to do our NFL Week 3 instant reactions, but before we jump into that, let's go back to Thursday night real quick, because you won the game against the spread on the Browns with Baker playing, but it had to kill you a little bit as Tyrod Taylor fan club president. Baker came in. Baker's not looking back.
I'm not worried about it. He's going to come out in the next game. I wonder who they play. I've got it right here. So, they got the Raiders.
Yep.
But he'll come out. It doesn't matter. He'll come out and he'll look like shit against the Raiders, and I'll talk shit back. People are going to be like this and that. It's going to go on for at least a year anyways. He's going to have bad games. And then next year, he's going to do Deshaun Watson type stuff where he's just garbage, and I was right. No. And it's just going to be fine. I'm going to win again.
That's a bold prediction. I'm still upset that my Miami Dolphins don't have Baker Mayfield right now. But hey, they're 3-0. We're going to get to them. But before we do, let's break down some other actions as well. So let's start out right away with the Chiefs winning again, undefeated, 38-27 over the 49ers. What is your one single instant reaction?
Tank is my single syllable here as the reaction. It's just time for the Niners to, all these Niners had their hopes up. And, I told everybody, fade the Niners, fade the Texans. Whoa, weird. I was right, like always. And then Jimmy G goes ahead and rips his ACL off. And it's just tank time again. They need to load up on defense. They need to make some trades. That defense is garbage. Maybe get a real running back in there. Again, Breida's not that bad. I don't think Jerick McKinnon's going to be the problem solver.
Is it too late to just try to get Le'Veon Bell? Word on the street is today that the Steelers are saying, hey, we can trade him.
That'd be a waste.
But what if they could get him long term? Then you get Jimmy back next year. I don't know what McKinnon's situation was. I know there's an out in that contract somewhere. If they can add a decent wide receiver in there, they get Le'Veon Bell. Could have something brewing on offense.
And the only thing is, and I don't care about the receivers, I don't care about their offense. The thing that they need to load up on is defense. So they're probably going to, if they had to trade for Le'Veon, they're giving up high picks. Right. They need defense more than anything. Le'Veon Bell is not going to solve defensive problems. Let's be honest.
Right. Yeah, my instant reaction to this one is insert. Because it's time to insert Sammy Watkins into your fantasy football lineup. Another 55 yards today, another touchdown today. Travis Kelce's the consistent scorer. He put up 115 yards, I think, 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns, 8 catches. But Watkins had as many carries today as Tyreek Hill had catches. Boom. I thought you'd maybe say something about that because Tyreek Hill, I'm done talking about him. I just want to throw it out there, though. We said that he's going to have some boom weeks and some bust weeks, and this was a bust week.
He'll probably have 3 or 4 bust weeks coming up here. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get overly excited about 5 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown and be like, insert him into your lineup. That doesn't excite me, especially when such a right now, a dominant quarterback just whipping it all over.
That's the thing, though. The Chiefs this year in 3 weeks have scored 38, 42, and 38 points. Mahomes has 13 passing touchdowns. Yeah. If you're between Watkins and another fringe guy, you have to go Watkins, in my opinion, at this point. But I will say next week they play the Broncos. That could be an actual test.
The Broncos stink.
They seem to do an every other game thing kind of on defense, so I think they might be okay this next week.
No, they just haven't had good opponents, and they stink.
Okay, we'll talk about them. I want to set you straight real quick here. Let's talk about your Green Bay Packers because they didn't do so well today. They scored 17 points against a not-so-great Redskins defense, and the Redskins put up 31. And it looks like, Sheldon Richardson's probably done?
Sheldon Richardson?
Oh, did I call him Sheldon Richardson? I meant Muhammad Wilkerson.
Yeah, it looked like he went to the hospital and got surgery or some shit, so that's obviously going to be done for the year from what I'm guessing. That's just like a broken ankle. Then he could come back at some point.
You know it's bad, though, when you're going straight to the hospital.
Yeah. My single syllable on this one is it's no biggie. It's one of those, it's a letdown game, right? You just came off a big, game against the Vikings, which had such a disappointing ending. You're playing on the road in rain. And everybody just dropped the ball. Like, if they were catching, Rodgers played great. If Cobb doesn't drop 2 balls on big third downs and fumble it, lose it, and then Lance Kendricks literally drops maybe the easiest pass of all time. Like, it was floating. It was a perfect spiral.
It was a 40-yard handoff, man. That was right on the button.
It couldn't have been any easier, and he drops that as well on third down. They were all on third and fourth downs. I mean, Rodgers is picking them apart, but you can't do anything when guys aren't catching the ball, and then the Clay Matthews issue just keeps coming up. But again, I mean, they get the Bills next week. I know they won, but I'm not scared of the Bills. They get the Bills at home. They're gonna beat the shit out of them. And Packers start slow. That's what they do. I'm not worried at all. No worries.
My instant reaction is thoughts, because I'd love to get your thoughts on Adrian Peterson after calling him out. Then against your team, who he's made a career against. Obviously, he played him all the time when he was with the Vikings. But he goes for 120 and 2 touchdowns. We said it that I know that the Redskins are definitely at their best when their ground game is going, and AP is definitely the key to that. And we talked on the preview podcast about Chris Thompson. Like, do you use him? Do you bank on him having all these catches? He had 17 yards and only 1 catch for 0 yards. So the Packers basically took him out. But I think it's because Peterson was in so much because they couldn't stop him. So I want to know, are you backpedaling a little bit on that AP prediction, or was just like a random occurrence and it just happened to kill your team?
No, I mean, I'm not worried at all. Like I said, as far as Adrian Peterson goes, everybody was just the whole team was flat. Like, they came out flat. It's Adrian Peterson. Like I said, he's going to break down. It's going to turn into nothingness the rest of the season. One of those touchdowns wasn't even a touchdown. I mean, he was over a yard short, but they called it a touchdown. That was I don't know how the ref had the audacity to run in there and throw up his hands for a fucking touchdown. It wasn't anywhere near the end zone. Like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I don't know. Just it's interesting being a Dolphins fan living in Wisconsin. It's like it's really quiet right now. It's just so quiet.
I'm legitimately not. There's nothing to worry about. Like, we're gonna beat the fucking Bills. We'll probably beat the shit out of the Dolphins. Like,
hey, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, man.
You're gonna be real quiet with Green Bay and Miami plays.
The Dolphins will probably still have 3 wins when the Packers and Dolphins play. That's in November.
I'm not even sure what it is.
Yeah. Let's stay in that division. Let's talk about those Vikings because they put up a clunker. They got beat by the Bills 27-6. What do you got?
Oh, single syllable instant reaction here. LOL. All right, and here's the other part of the reason I don't feel so bad about that. You know what? The Bears, they're not going to win the division. They aren't. They played close against the Cardinals today. They're going to lose some. They're going to go 8-8 max. They're not going to. I'm not worried about the Bears, but I understand there are letdown games. There are tough games. The Packers had one today, but they also went on the road and played Washington in the rain. Like that. That's an acceptable letdown. This is worse. You can literally throw all your backups out there. You should have been able to beat the Buffalo Bills. And I'm not scared to say this, playing the Bills next week.
Yeah, they were favored by 17 points at home against the worst team in the NFL.
I bet the opening line next week is going to be like 20 points for Green Bay.
Probably will be. Well, yeah, that's just insane. I mean, to be favored by 17 and to only score 6 points, and their touchdown came at the end in garbage time.
Yeah. Garbage time. God, they got off to a 27-point or 24 or something like that point lead, and I was like, what is happening? Like, I didn't want to get too excited right away.
Right.
But once the third quarter rolled around, it was still 24-0. I'm like, shit.
Oh, no, that was a brutal game for the Vikings. That's why my instant reaction is recipe for disaster, because these two numbers, 55 and 6. 55 is the number of passes that the Vikings threw. 6 is the number of rushes that the Vikings had. I know that the situation of the game really dictated those numbers, But this goes back to what we said in the offseason after they got Kirk Cousins. Despite the good start that Cousins even had, too, they need to try to be led offensively by the run game. And I know that Cook was out, but that literally shouldn't be an excuse because Cook was out for the majority of last year anyways, so they should know that. And what's crazy about those 6 carries, only 2 of them were by Latavius Murray, and 2 of them weren't even like planned runs because they were Kirk Cousins scrambling. So you can basically say that they ran the ball on designed plays 4 times. That is a recipe for disaster. If the Vikings are in a shootout, I get it, and I know score dictated this one, but they got to X that game plan. That's not going to work.
That was great. And Kirk Cousins had 3 fumbles, 2 of which he lost.
Yeah.
On top of that, he was just getting tossed around. Ooh, that could be a confidence hurter for that team for a little bit. I hope that gets them down.
What I feel bad for right now is, so I know Vikings fans, they're on cloud 9. Even after that tie to the Packers, it's still on the road. But then you get to come home and you get to play the Bills, and you're favored by 17. And not only did they lose, but how about the fantasy owners of Kirk Cousins? Man, for a while there, he was riding with negative points.
I was playing against him, and it was like -3 the entire game. He was negative until the last touchdown. Yeah,
no, it was brutal. Well, let's go to a real winning team that one of us cheers for. Miami Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins, 28-20 over the Oakland Raiders. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first on this one?
It's just hilarious. They beat a garbage team at home by 8 points.
Comeback win.
Excited. It's hilarious. Enigma is my single syllable. Like, Jordy going for, this is fantasy related, Jordy going for 173 and a touchdown, that won't happen again. That's just a figure. That will not happen again. I hope people start trading for him. I'm in Green Bay land. I'm going to see him in lineups. Please insert him in lineup. Please trade for him. Please play him against me because he's going to continue to go like he was in the first couple of games and have like 30 yards and 1 or 2 receptions backs in games. He's going to end the season, like I said, 500 yards and probably around 2-3 touchdowns.
Well, his yard's probably going to bust up a little bit more because he almost went for 200 today.
Yeah, he got 173 there. Yeah.
But it was like 135 in the first quarter. And after that, they sort of shut him down a little bit more. And I will say I don't want to get too in-depth about this part of it. But a lot of that was because Rashad Jones didn't play today. And that really shuffled up the secondary. So that whole first drive, Miami didn't know, like defensively in the secondary, what the hell they were doing. And Nelson accounted for, I believe, 73 of the 75 yards and that touchdown. So, yeah, don't look too far into that one. That's my instant reaction to your instant reaction. But my actual one for the podcast is fake stats. Not to get confused with fake news, but fake stats. Because Ryan Tannehill had nearly 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. And I'm seeing Dolphins fans on Twitter saying that this is one of the best games they've ever seen him have. Well, 2 of his touchdowns and 92 of his yards came on push passes that I could literally make after a full day of drinking. So you're going to see some waiver. Oh, well, I'm not bad after I'm drinking. It enhances a few things. I'd be all right.
Yeah, you'd probably get nervous.
Maybe. There's going to be some waiver wire chatter, though, about Tannehill, about Albert Wilson, about Jakeem Grant. But basically every single thing that they did on offense in the second half was a gadget play. So I would tread lightly here. I wouldn't really dive into these Dolphins players, despite the fact that I'm wearing their jersey if you're watching on YouTube and a big Dolphins fan. But I want to set it to you straight. Don't go all in right now on that offense. That was a lot of gadget shit.
Thanks, Heisenberg. Appreciate it.
What are you trying to say?
You said tread lightly.
Ah, gotcha. I didn't even think about that. Nice. Good Breaking Bad.
Because I'm the man.
All right, let's jump off those Dolphins real quick and on to the Eagles, who beat the Colts 20-16. What do you have?
Playoffs! Look, I know that they lost this game, but the Colts have played good teams early this year, and they're in all the games with a win. Eagles are defending Super Bowl champs. Colts, to me, are a playoff team. Like, I think that they're going to end up in the playoffs somehow, some way, probably as a wild card. Defense is playing underratedly well so far, like really good at this point. And Eagles are a tough team. Like the Colts, once Andrew Luck really gets like reincorporated back into it, it's going to take a few weeks. It's a slow start, just like for some reason Rodgers and the Packers do. I mean, they're going to bust out if that defense keeps playing that way. They're going to win I think they can win quite a few games.
What do you?
Texans and Tennessee are
Yeah,
garbage
that's
too,
the
so.
thing. The division is just a big pile of average right now. So yeah, I don't think it's like too crazy to say that even after losing the day that the Colts can, I don't know, win the divisions will be a little tough because the Jaguars defense still going to will their way to 10 wins.
Yeah, I mean the Jaguars are going to win the division.
But yeah, my instant reaction there is disappointment, and I'm talking solely from a fantasy football perspective, because in this game you've got a ton of guys that like could legit go off at any given week. You've got Luck, who finished with just over 150 yards and a touchdown. You've got T.Y. Hilton. Would you quit fumbling around?
I forgot that it was No Shirt Sunday.
It is. You got T.Y. Hilton, who only had 50 yards. You've got Wentz, who had about 250 and a touchdown, which isn't going to kill you, but you'd want a little bit more out of your quarterback. Corey Clement, who was like the hot play of the week, 75 total yards. Aguilar, who we both really liked this week, thought he'd be like a huge beneficiary of Wentz being back, and all the other receivers hurt. He gets 24 yards. So
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, this is why you need to look at some matchups, and maybe right now we're not giving the Colts enough love on defense that we should, because they held them in check pretty well.
I was wrong about the return of Wentz, and that's fine. But they're also going to get better as well. Alshon Jeffrey will be coming back. They'll have the mixture of Sproles, Ajayi, and Clement eventually, which I think is the best for them. They just need to move three guys around.
They do.
Because none of those running backs are good enough to do it by themselves at this point. So I was really pissed that Small Dick had to take an interception. I mean, a touchdown for me. And Corey Clement, I got so excited when I saw it on my other screen. I was like, oh, fuck, that wasn't.
Yeah, how about the forgotten man in that backfield? I mean, there's so many running backs. And here comes old Wendell Smallwood and to steal your touchdown. All the Corey Clement lovers out there.
Pissing me off.
Yeah, that one had to hurt a little bit.
I'm excited to watch the Colts going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Eagles for sure now that Wentz is back. I mean, it's good for the NFL. Let's talk Panthers-Bengals. Panthers win by 10, 31-21. What do you got?
Regret. I've got major regret. I was going to draft Christian McCaffrey. In my head, it was going to be, I had the 12th pick in a redraft league, and I was going to go Devontae and McCaffrey. That's who I was going to take.
You're on record saying it.
What?
You're on record saying it. I remember you saying it.
And Fournette happened to be there, and I was like, I've always wanted to have Fournette on my team. So I took Fournette, and I regret it.
Yeah.
My instinct told me to take McCaffrey, but I'm such a love for the Jaguars and Fournette. Today, he had 184 yards on 28 touches.
Yep.
He just dominated. I don't know if he didn't have any. Oh, C.J. Anderson fucking hawked a touchdown.
C.J. Anderson caught one.
What?
I think C.J. Anderson caught his touchdown.
Oh, yeah, he did. He did catch his touchdown. Yeah, what the fuck's he out there catching touchdowns for? Anyways, and then Cam Newton, of course, had 2 rushing touchdowns, so he didn't get in the end zone at all. But 184 yards is going to be plenty of points for me, especially. Yeah, and then he didn't add too many in receiving, which is kind of weird. It was like the opposite of what he usually does.
Typically does, yeah.
10 yards rushing. But if they're going to put it all together with him, where he's doing 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving in the game,
he'll be nasty.
I want McCaffrey, and I'm just angry that I didn't get him in any of my leagues this year because this was the year I was actually high on him compared to last year. Yeah,
for sure. Pay attention to this one because my instant reaction to the Panthers-Bengals game is Vikings. Because maybe not to this extent, but the Minnesota Vikings should look at the Carolina Panthers run-pass distribution because those numbers are 41-24, with 41 being the number of rushing attempts. And like you said, we finally saw Christian McCaffrey go off on the ground, 180-plus yards. And even though the Panthers carried the ball 41 times, Newton still got his. Like, it was totally fine. Only 24 pass attempts, 4 total touchdowns. So as a fantasy owner, you're totally cool with that. So you might say, oh my God, if they run the ball more, or if McCaffrey starts being this beast, it's going to end up killing me. I wouldn't worry whatsoever about that. The thing I'd be worried about right now as a Panthers fantasy owner with Newton is that really outside of Funches, there's no receiver really getting it done on a consistent basis. And then you lost Greg Olsen as well. But a day like today just reminded you why you take a guy like Cam Newton, because even when they ran the ball for more than 40 times, he threw 2 touchdowns, and he's always the guy by the goal line. So he added 2 more on the ground.
I love him.
So yeah, Vikings take notice.
It's and the crazy thing is Christian McCaffrey, it wasn't just a fluke. It was 28 carries for 184.
Yeah.
That's 6.6 yards per carry.
Right.
Getting that many carries and averaging that much, he did have a 45-yard, but there's still 140 yards to be
accounted for, yeah.
Accounted for after that. So, that wasn't just like he had 2 80-yard runs in there. That was 28 fucking carries for that much. That's good.
That's good. I just hope he doesn't wear down because, man, he's catching the ball a ton. He almost had 30 carries today. It's a lot of touches for a young guy, but hopefully he holds up, especially for fantasy owners, unlike yourself who failed to take him. Let's talk about a game that featured 15 total points. The Tennessee Titans win 9-6 in a clunker over the Jags. What do you got?
This one is, recover. You come off a big win. You spend a lot of energy against the Patriots. And then games like this happen. Like I said before, it happened to the Packers. It happened to the Vikings in a little bit of a worse way. But it happens. If I'm a Jaguars fan, I'm not worried. They'll bounce back. Fournette will be back. Bortles will bounce back. He's a boat. So it's nothing to worry about. You'll get those numbers back from Bortles and Leonard Fournette as a fantasy guy. So it's just one of those games. You come out after a huge win where you spend your energy and just like one of those letdown games. No worries there.
All right, so I feel like I almost repeat myself every single time we talk about the Jaguars because my instant reaction is real. Because that Jags defense, man, they only gave up like 230 yards. They gave up 3 freaking field goals. They are for real. Bortles and that offense, I'm a broken record. They're going to struggle with him at quarterback. And the Jags offense, there's nothing there, especially without Fournette right now. They got it done against New England, but that just makes me wonder, how bad is New England's defense? They could do nothing.
Oh, they're terrible.
They could do, exactly. They could do nothing against the Titans.
You guys that
already. You're on record being a hater of the Patriots defense.
Yeah, bad defense.
I'm starting to come around on it because I didn't think the Titans defense was all that good. And here comes the Jaguars getting 6 points. I don't get that. But at the same token, they're still 2-1. They're still in a really, really murky division. They're the odds-on favorite to win it. But, man, how are the Titans 2-1? The Titans are the ugliest 2-1 ever. They've got offensive line issues. The running game legit can't get going. Who's going to be the quarterback? Mariota's out there, not even expecting to play. He has to come in because Gabbert gets a bruised noodle. He comes in. You'd think they'd take it easy with him. No, he's running all over the place. I don't know what they're doing. It just confuses the hell out of me.
A bruised noodle. What a line. Did you plan that or did that just kind of come out?
No, it's just, I don't. They got me all in my feelings.
Gabbert gets a bruised noodle. That one got me.
All right,
I don't think I've ever heard that expression.
Well, good.
I need to take a break.
All right. Well, I'll pipe in quick and let you get over it. I've talked enough about the Jaguars for one episode. Let's talk about the Ravens and the Broncos. The Ravens end up winning this one 27-14. What do you got?
What the buck? Why do the Ravens hate Alex Collins? I predicted a big game out of him. He did have a decent game, I guess, 68 yards and a touchdown, but he could have had another touchdown. But, of course, they put in Buck Allen to take it away.
Yep.
Besides that, I knew this game was going to be tricky. That spread, that stunk. That's a sticky spread. I was like, the Ravens by 5, I'm not touching that. Weren't you on the Broncos side?
I don't want to talk about my against the spread picks.
Yeah, I didn't like the smell of that one. That's why I stuck with the under, somehow hit it. But that just didn't smell correct. And I was like I said, I don't like that west to east thing. I don't think the Broncos are good. I don't think the Ravens are good. I just don't want to touch it because it smelled.
Yeah. My instant reaction piggybacks really well off of yours because it's name change. Because they should be the Baltimore Vultures instead of the Baltimore Ravens. Nice. Buck Allen, man, 6 carries, 7 yards, steals a rushing touchdown, steals a receiving touchdown. He's now got 4 touchdowns in 3 games. Alex Collins has 2, and he's supposed to be the workhorse guy here. I don't really have much for this game other than that. I'm upset. I'm an upset fantasy owner. I'm upset that I bet this game with the Broncos. Besides the Dolphins winning, it wasn't a great Sunday for me.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm looking forward to this next conversation here because it's the Giants and the Texans. And the Giants won 27-22. I'm going to let you go first here on this one, if you don't mind.
I'm going to say underutilized. Where in the hell is DeAndre Hopkins' usage? Okay, he did have 6 receptions for 86 yards, but when you're struggling like this, and the way he played with way Sean Watson played with DeAndre Hopkins last year,
right?
I mean, I drafted DeAndre Hopkins in the first round for a reason. I'm like, I didn't think they'd play well, but I thought at least Hopkins would play awesome. It like a la Calvin Johnson with Sean Hill, like that type of like awesomeness. It's just you need to like start relying on him, start throwing him the ball because whatever you're doing right now is just not working.
Right.
Feed him 10, 12, 15. He needs to have 15 targets and 10 receptions out of that.
Yeah.
And needs to be targeted once they get into the end zone. It's underutilized.
Yeah, treat him like the Falcons use Julio. Even if the touchdowns aren't going to be there, just feed the shit out of that guy. Like not only from a selfish fantasy perspective, but like you said, what are they doing offensively right now? I know that the defense isn't near what people predicted it to be, but I mean, yeah, in today's NFL, if you're only scoring 22 points against the New York Giants, you're not going to win.
Yeah, this team's bad. I fucking ATS, baby. Like, if you keep listening to my picks,
you're gonna start charging for those picks.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I need to get that shit public and be like, hey guys, I'm 9-0 right now of 25 units.
Well, it is technically public. You just need to monetize it.
Exactly. I need to make it. Yeah, exactly. Well, I need it to be private because when you pay for something, it's private. I don't know.
That's a lot of wordage. This is why I'm looking forward to talking about this one, though, because my instant reaction is moment of silence. I just wanted to say our writer, Scott, has been MIA right now. He wrote an article for us this offseason. He did a great job with it. I was really looking forward to his work with us. Unfortunately, he's only written the one article. I looked at his Twitter page. He hasn't tweeted since August 12th. We're going to run under the assumption that Scott is just no longer with us on this world. So
I'm not laughing.
I'd like to ask that you join us in a moment of silence. And let's move on to the Saints and the Falcons. The Saints beat the Falcons 43-37. What do you have for this?
Well, first, I can't not respond to what just happened there. I never got to know Scott personally or even talk to him on the Twitterverse and be like, hey, Scott, nice article or anything, even retweet.
Is everything okay, Scott? Like, you didn't even get a chance to check in with him.
Yeah, I didn't even get to say a word to Scott. Now I don't even know. He could have been great for us.
Dude, if Scott's really dead, I am feeling such like an asshole.
All right, what game are we talking about now?
The Saints and the Falcons.
Okay, my single syllable is actually a single syllable. Instant reaction. It's fun.
You can't do that. You can't make it a real single syllable.
I just did it. Trying to get to it. Here we go. It's a fun game to watch. Like, who doesn't like watching a game where it's back and forth?
Yeah.
Like, we got 400 yards from Breeze and almost 400 yards, 375 from Matt Ryan. So we got like 800 yards in the air almost.
And 80 points scored.
So many yards, so many stats. I played against a guy who benched Matt Ryan, would have had like 50 points out of him. It was great. I love it. It was just so back and forth. A lot of people are expecting the Falcons to go out there and kind of just dominate. I think a lot of the money was on the Falcons this game, and of course, Vegas is always right about everything. But it was just a fun game to watch. Like I know there's a Calvin Ridley came out and he dominated. You're excited about that, you know?
What was better, Calvin? What was better in your opinion, Calvin Ridley's performance or Drew Brees' spin move to shake two defenders for the game-tying touchdown?
That wasn't even a spin move. He got hit and then flung around off of it. He's like, "Oh shit, I'm still on my feet," and then ran it for a touchdown. Like, yeah, those two guys that hit should be kicked off the team.
Oh, they're gonna get tore apart in those meetings. A 40-year-old. Not super what we would consider an athletic quarterback. Just, man, like you said, it was kind of like a guided spin move. We'll call it that. But, man, yeah, that was an exciting game. I like that.
He had 2 rushing touchdowns, too. Yeah. Jesus.
The winner, the tire and the winner. I forgot about that. My instant reaction is priorities. You talked about Calvin Ridley. Because is he going to be the top waiver ad if he's available in your leagues right now? Because he scored last week, and then he put up nearly like 150 receiving yards, 3 receiving touchdowns. That's where all of Julio's scores are going. They're going to my boy Calvin. I personally think you've got to make room for a guy like this because, man, like Matt Ryan's getting hot right now. If he's on your bench, like the person you were talking about, you got to start looking into some matchups because he's been hot again recently. Julio continues to get some targets, continues to get the yards. It's just defenses just aren't letting him score, and it's just being all these other guys. And the last 2 weeks, Ridley's got 4 touchdowns. I think if he's still available, like he's your number one go get. Like I don't know how he couldn't be.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of wide receivers I think that are going to be picked up off the waiver wire this upcoming week. And I couldn't remember who. I had Calvin Ridley in mind. I had Geronimo Allison in mind if he's not on a team. He's getting lots of attention from Rodgers. And there was at least 1 or 2 others that I'm not thinking of right now. But there's going to be a decent amount of wide receivers.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Let's move on to the late games. We've got the Battle of L.A., as it's been coined. Rams beating the Chargers 35-23. What do you got?
All right. Instant reaction here is every week. I'm really upset with myself. For now on, I am playing Robert Woods and Mike Williams every single week. I don't know what I was thinking. Like I was like, 2 good defenses, so they'll both be stopped. Wrong. Wrong. I heard high scoring all week. For some reason, I ignored that in my mind. I benched both of them. They both had 2 touchdowns. I think Mike Williams went for 80 and 2 touchdowns, and Robert Woods went for, let's see here, I got it right here. Robert Woods went for
104
yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it's like, what an idiot. Mike Williams looks awesome. I was dead right on him coming into the season. 2 months ahead of everybody else. I was upset that he started getting hyped, but he's going to be in all my. I'm going to start just playing both those guys, and I don't care if they have bad weeks in there. I'm just going to keep putting them in there. I'm not going to fall victim to that again.
Nice. Well, instead of your rapper name being 2 Chainz, you can be 2 months. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Nice. My instant reaction is lo siento, which for you non-Spanish speakers out there means I'm sorry, because I told you to bet the under in this game. I told you to bench fringe players in fantasy. I told you to bench Phillip Rivers. Not only did this game go over, but Rivers did just fine. Robert Woods and Mike Williams, the fringe guys that you were just talking about, they did real well. Cooper Kupp, nice game with a touchdown.
Yep.
I'll say it. I'm proud when I make calls right, but I've also said it before. I'm going to own up when I lose. This was a bad loss. This one's on me. This is my loss of the year. Lo siento.
That was another fun one. That was just like that. That was almost like the level of Saints.
Yeah, I was pumped to be able to watch that. That was a great game.
Yeah,
that was a great game.
That was another fun one to watch. Those 2 quarterbacks go back and forth. Jared Goff is good. I'm probably going to continue to. I didn't play him this week. I'm going to play him more often.
I'm going to play him. Good.
Well, I have him and Andrew Luck, so I was like, I'm going to play Andrew Luck, and it's going to be such like a coin toss for me every week. I'm going to have to trade one of them away.
That's tough. You might need
trade one.
Oh gosh, let me pipe in real quick because.
Oh yeah.
You want to know why I want to pipe in real quick? Because Pristine Auction, they have daily auctions packed with tons of stuff for the man cave. They guarantee their items. They all come with certificates of authenticity from only the trusted sources. It's affordable. Most people don't think you can afford it. Trust me, you definitely can. It's quick, free, easy to register. When you do register, there's a spot at the bottom that says, how did you hear about us? Make sure you mention the loaded box. In that, you're going to find some great items you only pay when you win. Actually, last week, I went on there, scored a Dolphins mini helmet signed by Hall of Famer Jason Taylor. I'll show it on the next podcast when I have it, so you guys can see some really great Pristine Auction memorabilia. But check them out. It's pristineauction.com, Pristine auction.com. With that, I think we got, 2 games left?
Yep.
All right, let's talk about the Bears. Comeback win, 16-14 over the Cardinals.
My instant reaction for this one is pressure. Talk about throwing a guy into the line of fire. You know what? Sam Bradford's played this whole game, but we're down 2 points, and you need to go out there and win right now, just cold, against top 5 defense in the league.
With about 3 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, come on. I don't know if they were trying to make him look bad or what the deal was. Let Sam Bradford finish off that game. Start Josh Rosen next week. I am excited for the Josh Rosen takeover. I think he's going to outshine all the quarterbacks, all the rookie quarterbacks. I mean, fun fact, we've got Josh Rosen, and I don't even care if they haven't announced it. We've got Josh Rosen, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, and Sam Darnold all starting 4 weeks into the season, essentially, here. So that's going to be, I mean, this is what we all look forward to. You don't usually see 4 guys like that getting drafted in the top, what were they, all top 10? So,
and it's the next wave of guys. Like the face of the league is obviously quarterback, and we're seeing him right away here in the rookie year. So I'm with you. I'm pumped on Rosen. My instant reaction is blitz, because I'd like to say it was nice to see a team actually blitz in an obvious Hail Mary situation. They never even gave Josh Rosen a chance.
That was wild.
Like you said, you put him in. He gets 2 cracks at it at the very end against the top 5 defense against Khalil Mack. And
one of the worst offensive lines.
Yeah, and not a great offensive line. In obvious pass situations too, like play action's not going to do him any good. A handoff's not going to do any good. And at the very end there, they know it's coming with the Hail Mary because they were on their own 45. Boom. You had Matt coming from one end, you blitzed from the other. You gave him 0 chance of even being able to heave that ball. So props to the Bears. I mean, it was a win. The NFC North needed one. I know we got the Lions playing Sunday, so we don't know how that one ended yet. But, man.
They're in first, no matter what, too.
Yeah, they're going to be in first no matter what now because the Lions win. They only have the one, obviously. But
yep, and the Vikings and Packers are 1-1-1.
Oh, my God, I didn't think about that. Yeah, how about that? Yeah. Both the Vikings and the Packers have this, correct me if I'm wrong, the same record as the Cleveland Browns?
Yep.
Pretty sweet. What's that stat about Green Bay and like domestic violence going up after a loss?
Yeah. You just said it. Domestic violence goes up after a loss.
There's the stat. Let's wrap it up here with a terrible game. Seahawks beat the Cowboys 24-13. What do you got?
Crap. Like both these teams are crap. Neither of these are relevant. They have their relevant fantasy guy. They've got Ezekiel Elliott, who fumbled at the end of the game, who's relevant. Russell Wilson, who's relevant. But outside of that, there's nobody fantasy relevant on really. I mean, I guess the wide receivers for the Seahawks are going to be relevant because Russell's going to have to run around and throw the ball.
Right.
But Cowboys, there's nobody outside of Zeke. Like, there's nobody I want on my team. Fantasy-wise, out of that. And I just think both these teams stink anyways. And, God, the Cowboys are really bad. Yeah.
I don't have too much to add on this one. My instant reaction is Gamecast. With all the other games going on, I wanted to watch the end of that Bears game. I wanted to watch the Chargers-Rams game. I watched this game on Gamecast. And if you were a Cowboys fan, I hope to God you did the same thing because that must have been terrible to witness. I hate to end this podcast on such a negative note. But, man, it looks like the Cowboys need everything besides Elliott. They need, like, maybe a new help at quarterback. They need some wide receivers. You know what they really need? They need a bye week. Like, they just don't need to play for a week.
They're bad.
Nice. Well, let's wrap this puppy up. Go ahead.
Let me do Squad QL real quick.
Oh, you can talk about them.
Speaking of lineup, and not
who
putting
needs
any
Squad
Cowboys
QL?
in your lineups.
Yeah, the Cowboys need Squad QL. They need to look for free agents.
The Cowboys need them. They need to find out who they need to put in their lineup. You want an unfair advantage to dominate your fantasy football league?
Well, do ya?
Like Ben and I are doing? Well, look no further. Ben and I went a fucking, I shouldn't be swearing there, a smooth 8-0 last week in our fantasy leagues thanks to Squad QL. So go to Squad QL. The only mobile app you need to crush your friends and rivals this year. Squad QL recommends the best starting lineup for you each and every single week based on your starters, and no Cowboys will be in them except for Ezekiel Elliott.
Exactly.
Bench players and free agent pool. You may ask, how does Squad QL actually do this? The app connects directly with your Yahoo, ESPN, and CBS leagues, I guess. Like we said before, we know one person in it. Pull it in your actual roster and your league scoring system. Squad QL provides waiver and trade recommendations, plus the app gives you player rankings each week, and it's all based on your league settings. Squad QL truly is your go-to app this fantasy football season. Head to squadql.com to download Squad QL, your all-in-one fantasy football manager.
There you go. DJ said it. Go to Squad QL, check them out. Check out Pristine Auction as well. Check us out on Twitter. On top of all of that, we're on that social media platform found at Loaded Box. Check out our website, loadedboxpodcast.com. Be on the lookout for this midweek here. We'll be doing our NFL Week 4 fantasy football preview pod with our Against the Spread picks and our daily fantasy sports advice. We're available on iTunes. Subscribe, rate, and review there. 3-0 Dolphins, 1-1-1 Packers. I'm going to let you send us out still anyways, DJ.
Patriots -7 tonight. Bye.